Well, we're definitely excited to get around our new football team and get spring practice started here in a couple weeks. Right now, the guys are in winter workouts. They're working out well, and we're able to do some things with them on the field and in the workouts to kind of see what we have with the new roster. I think all the new additions to this point we've been excited about. I think will contribute and do a good job for us. And now it's about getting up to speed on the package and how we work and some corrections we're going to make along the way to try to improve and get better as a football team. But I like to make it with the guys, and I think they're working really hard right now. They're training hard, and they're looking forward to having a great spring. We also added Dion as our receiver coach. We're excited to get him on board with us and coaching our receivers and relaying his knowledge to those guys. And I think he has a good relationship with all of our players and understands what this game is all about and what they need to do from a work ethic standpoint to get things done. And I think he'll fit in extremely well, coaching those guys at a high level and be able to give them feedback daily in meetings, throughout the course of the off season will be really beneficial for him. So we're excited to do that and have him on board as a full-time assistant coach, and excited about the players being here. They've done a good job at this point, and we're looking forward to kind of keeping this thing moving as much as we can and trying to get better each and every day.
Jeff, after Garrick McGee left, did you kind of hone in on Dion right from the jump, or were there some other candidates that you kind of considered before you officially made Branch the new wide receivers coach?
I think we always survey the whole scene, but without question, we've had Dion here with us off the field. He's done a really good job with our players. The fact that he has played the receiver position at a high level, not only here at the University of Louisville, but also at the professional level, is very beneficial. I think he wanted to get on board and become a coach and be a part of that. And so I think, as you look at it, when you have somebody who knows our players, who knows the position, who's been around them, this program means a lot to him. The fact that he's played here and it gave so much to him when he was a player, he's definitely ready to give back and to do a great job for this football team.
Jeff, what did you like about knowing Moss, having seen him in person in that Holiday Bowl and film, and getting to know him, to target him, and like him so good?
Well, I like Miller to this point. I think he can throw a good football. He's played a lot of games. He has a ton of experience. He's had ups and downs, kind of like Tyler, kind of like Jack. But I think he's played against good football teams, and he's been battle tested. And I think he's picked up what we've done to this point very well. I think he's a leader in a different way than Tyler, but he's a very good leader, and he wants to go out on this last year with a bang and to play really good football and to play at a high level. We want to help him do that. So he's definitely bought in to put in the work in and really trying to gel and mesh with our receivers at this point, and he understands that this is a year that he wants to go out and show people what he can do. So we definitely feel excited about what we think he brings to the table for our team.
Jeff, you mentioned earlier about getting people acclimated, specifically with Miller. What is that process like of bringing someone who hadn't run your system at all before and getting him up to speed over these next few months to where day one he could be ready to go?
Well, very similar to last year. Tyler Shuckle was in the same situation. They both play a lot of football. It's a matter of kind of learning schemes and terminology and words and putting that together. I think it's a matter just of throwing the football with our receivers, getting on the same page with them, and that's in the things that we design for them from a work ethic standpoint, but also things they do on their own, and they continue to improve that way. So I think he'll have all this winter time. He'll have all spring practice. He'll have all the month of May. Then we get into summer workouts, June and July. He'll have all those months as well to kind of put that together. So you just got to utilize it. And the times where guys are going to be here 2, 3, 4 years, if we can, that's great. But it's probably a little less likely now. So you got to make sure that you put in the work when they get here. And I think, like I said, he's hungry. He wants to prove himself. we feel like we have a couple talented receivers and some other young ones that hopefully can continue to get better, he wants to get on the same page with them and really play well this year.
Jeff, how big of an advantage having Dion around? I know he wasn't coaching, but he's been around the last 2 years. He kind of knows the offense a little bit, and that has to be an advantage as far as the receiver room and going forward. And then kind of follow up that, do you plan on replacing him in the position that he was in?
Well, the great thing about Dion is, we know what he's about. We know the type of person he is. We know, what's on the inside. And he's a man of great character. He works really hard. He's played football at a high level. He came back here to give back to our players off the field. He's done a really good job at that. So I think now, he wants to dive into the coaching world. And I think all those experiences will be beneficial for him. But the fact that we know who he is, what he's about, his character is the most important thing. So I think he'll do a great job, and he's really looking forward to this opportunity. Your next question was what again?
Do you fill that role?
And then for us right now, Mel Mills, who joined us last year, former player here, will fill the role of player development. He was our director of player development our last couple of years at Purdue. Did a really good job there. Once again, he's a couple years older than me, but he played defensive end here with Coach Sander, who's with our staff as well, under Coach Snellberger, but really loves this program, and I think he'll do a great job, and he has experience with it, and I think he'll be outstanding for us.
Jeff, going back to Miller, working with Lincoln Riley and Cliff Kingsbury, obviously two really good offensive minds in college football. How much does that just kind of contribute to the maturity or the experience and veteran leadership that Miller will bring as a player and, like I said, as a leader?
Well, all those experiences will be beneficial. The fact that he's been in a passing offense, throwing the ball a lot. A lot of the offenses he's been in has relied on the passing game, so he had to play well in order for them to win. That's a huge plus. While we like to do the same thing, having a good running game and having balance will help a quarterback perform better. So we're hoping to try to take a little pressure off of him to make sure that we have a good team around him, and a good rushing attack and a good balance with that. But he's done very good. The 2 months we've had him here, I think he's making great progress. You can tell when you have an experienced guy that he's seen things before, he's been there, which is beneficial. So we're excited to get to work with him for the next 6 to 10 months and to put together the best season we possibly can.
Last year, you had an offensive line that did well, obviously protecting Tyler as well as helping the run game. Lost a few key members off that line, added a few through the portal. What's your thought as you're heading into spring practice about how they're regrouping?
Well, I was proud of our offensive line, Coach Owens and those guys last year did a really good job. And I think, like every position, moving forward, we're going to have some replacements come in each and every year to have to step in and do a good job. I know going out for our first workout on the field, as we're stretching on the field, you kind of look around and a lot of new faces. And a lot of guys you haven't been around very much, so you're like, okay, we got a new team here. We got to make sure that we get up to speed, we get around our players, myself, our assistant coaches, we get to know them, see what makes them tick, watch them work out, be with them on the field, get in the film room with them. There's just a lot of work that goes into it, and the minus is you haven't been with them a long time, but the plus is quite a few of them have played a lot of football, so that experience is invaluable. So you just kind of mesh that together. But I think our offensive line did a really good job. We feel like we're too deep again. We had quite a few injuries last year. I think the depth helped us. We had many guys step in. They did a very good job. I think how you call plays, what plays you call, the quarterback being able to see things, get the ball out quickly, all those things, having a good running game, all those things tie into making the O-line look efficient. But last year they did outstanding for us.
Jeff, it's fair to say Tyler was maybe even better than you thought, and looking back on what he gave you and where he is now, because you've had guys who played in the NFL, he's getting a lot of buzz in the NFL draft. How much does that even help you moving forward to land the next guy when they see how successful he is? And do you think, is he an NFL quarterback?
Well, I for sure think Tyler's an NFL quarterback. When we were were able to get him out of the portal. We really had never seen him throw in person, but you just kind of watch film, you study it, you talk to people, and then you throw in the fact that he played a lot of football. I did like the experience and veteran factor of him. He had good size, he had pretty good athleticism. Yes, he had some injuries that knocked him out a couple seasons, so it's important that we put together a plan that protected him as much as we could. He liked that, he felt comfortable with it, but you know, I feel confident at the quarterback position, we can put a plan together to help those guys have success no matter what they're good at. And you know, when it comes to recruiting, we're always going to recruit the best young quarterbacks we can, but if we have to go on the portal and get a quarterback, we feel confident we can go get a really, really good quarterback. And there's a lot of them out there. So that is a position that I don't think that we ever want to take for granted, but we want to be the best that we can at the quarterback position and put good players around him to help him look good. And I think Tyler can have a great career at the next level, and I think Miller can have a great year this year and do some great things for us.
Yeah, you had guys who've come in the portal, you've had guys who left, probably a few you weren't expected to leave. It's everywhere. Like Notre Dame played the national championship game, and 3 days later, 2 or 3 of their starting offensive linemen are gone. As a coach, how do you handle all that stuff, and can this system keep going the way it is now, or does it need to be fixed or changed?
Well, I'm all for fixing the system as much as we can and tweaking it and helping. What the true answer is, I'm not 100% for sure on it. I have my ideas, but you know, for us, yes, you're always going to have guys graduate. When we go sign veterans out of the portal, sometimes they just have 1 year left, so we're anticipating change every year now. Once you kind of start that cycle, yeah, you can maybe bring the numbers down a little bit, but it's probably going to continue for a while. And of course, with the amount of times these guys can transfer and all the factors that go into why off the field, it's just going to happen. And you just kind of have to pick and choose, excuse me, you know, who are vital to your success and who that, you know what, it's just not going to fit. And maybe they need to try something else. And you can't let it bother you. You can't let it affect your feelings. You know, we had a couple guys that we liked. Surely we didn't want to leave, but it just wasn't going to work out. So you go and get the next best compliment you can to bring it with your football team. You try to develop the young guys you got, get those guys ready to go, and you move forward. And I think the more you think about it, the more time you're just going to waste. So from a coaching standpoint, you just got to play with the rules that are put in front of you, make the most of it, and try to piece this thing together and have the best team you can every year. And every year will change, and every year there easily could be a new team that, or 2 or 3 that emerges based on how this portal works.
Jeff, quarterback Dion, what do you think the biggest adjustment is in switching from an off the field role to an on the field role for him? What do you think the biggest part of that process would be?
Well, that's a good question. I think, you know, me and Dion have talked about it a lot. You know, I've been around a lot of former players that have done well in the coaching profession. I've been around others that didn't quite work. And I just think that, you know, when you get into the coaching world, as a former player that definitely was as talented as Dion, was as successful, you know, you got to realize these guys need to be coached up, and there needs to be every little detail. And you can't take those things for granted that maybe were easy for you as a player that aren't as easy for others. And that's something that we've already talked about in great depth and detail, that, you know, everything has to be coached, every detail. Every player is different. You got to get to know your guys and what works for them. Knowing how to motivate them and to coach them is definitely part of coaching as well. And how can you positively affect their lives and make them successful on and off the field is very important. But then, yes, just the details of the position and making sure that we're hammering that away each and every day and having a plan for that, planning those things out daily, drill-wise, and making sure that certain things we want done repetitively over and over and over and over again so that we get good at it, and then a few adjustments along the way to make that position play at a high level. And I think, of course, you know, the terminology, learning things, he'll have to kind of get up to speed on that, but I don't think that'll be a problem. So I just think, you know, going from that, being a great player to a really good detailed coach doesn't happen overnight. You got to understand it's going to be a little more time consuming. You're gonna have a lot of players at your position that need a lot of attention and time and effort, and you gotta be willing to do that. And then, of course, you gotta continue to recruit and do those things, which are very time consuming. So I think any new coach has to understand all those things are gonna have to take place if you wanna be successful, and that requires a lot of effort and time.
Jeff, how would the 11 or so true freshmen kind of adjusted? It's a new deal when they kind of get on campus, and I guess moving forward, you kind of like, you guys have done so good in the portal. Do you kind of like having a little bit smaller of a recruiting class so you can have some room for the portal?
Well, we do. We have quite a few of our high school signings already here. Every one of them, 4 of them are here. And, you know, from what we've seen, we like our class. We do. We like them. They all give us talented young men. Are some of these guys going to be ready to play year one? Maybe not. That doesn't mean we can't get them ready to do that, but maybe not. But we've seen potential in all of them. Learning the game, filling out, getting strong, getting fast, all the nuances you gotta learn sometimes takes time. You gotta be willing to put that in with them. But we like what we see. We like their makeup. We like the talent level that they have. We like the promise that we see down the road, and we feel good about the ones that we have. And when we continue to move forward, yes, we'll have a continued mixture of portal additions and high school prospects, and I think we're doing our best job to piece it together, get guys that fit, that we think can be successful here. And you know, a lot of times, these guys could come in and surprise you, and hopefully maybe some get on the field right away. But if not, we're hopefully getting ready for the following year.
Jeff, you seem to be a bit of a quarterback whisperer, for lack of a better phrase. Probably never been called that before, but what is behind kind of the success? It's got to be more than simply you played the position and you can identify the talent. What do you feel like has been kind of behind that success of bringing these guys in and helping them have successful seasons?
Well, that's a good question. I think really I've just been fortunate enough to have a lot of experience at that position as a player and a coach. And I think anytime you play the position, it's just a little different than what's on the chalkboard or what you see on TV, and all the things that go into it. You got to really understand what it really takes to get to the top. And some of those things worked for me, some of those things didn't work. So you learn a lot along the way. I think while I had a lot of success when you get to the highest level, I didn't play as much as I wanted. So you have some failures, and you're let go from some teams. You're trying to make other teams, so you're kind of learning along the way how to deal with that and that adversity, which is part of playing quarterback. With that, I played for a lot of great coaches at every level. So you take a lot from them, what you learn as a player, as a sponge, trying to make the team, gain a roster spot, get on the field. So I just think I've been fortunate enough to go through that whole process and keep most of it in my memory bank as much as I can. And then, once you become a coach, you kind of put that together. And as assistant, you kind of take on what the head coach wants to emphasize and teach. And sometimes you agree with it, sometimes you don't, but you go make it work. And then, of course, you become a head coach. Now it can become more of exactly what you want to do. So that's what I've tried to do, just take all those experiences, learn from it, put it together. Quarterback position's vital. And, luckily with me and then my brother Brian, who's played the position, you try to understand the guys you have at that position and help them have success. And I think we do enough on offense. We can adjust things, we can tweak things, we can change things to kind of do what they do best, instead of just saying, hey, this is our offense, you got to be able to run it. So I think all those things come into it. You try to put the best talent around them. You got to call the best plays. You got to do the best drills in the off season. You got to study film with them. You got to get on the same page with them in meetings so that they understand what you're seeing and what you're thinking. It just takes time. But luckily we've done it so much it's become second nature. We have a plan for it. You do it year round now. It's just kind of part of the process. And if you enjoy what you're doing, then it becomes easier. So I just think we through experiences and through relationships, we have a decent plan to help that position have success.
Last two, Tyler. Okay.
Hey Jeff, you bring in 2 receivers from the portal in Golden and McWilliams, and have 2 guys back like Colin Lacey and Chris Bell. How high are your expectations for that, or what you have for that?
Well, we definitely want to play as well at that position as we possibly can. Without question, Chris Bell and Colin Lacey, we got two guys with experience that play a lot of football, that we got to make sure get their touches, and we got to help them play at the highest level they possibly can. We want to make sure we build the offense around those two guys. But we do feel like we have some young additions that are getting better, that can help us. They got to continue to improve, but we definitely want to push the envelope there, because we're going to need, more guys to step up. We're going to need more guys to touch the ball and have success. We're going to need to be good at the tight end position. All those things matter, but our guys have worked hard, and I think you'll see a couple new faces, just like a couple of ones you mentioned. Hopefully, step on the field and make plays for us. It's good to see Antonio Meeks make the touchdown catch in the bowl game. So just those guys got to continue to work hard and be ready when their number's called. And definitely, with the group we have, there will be some new faces and names that you'll hear that need to step up.
Jeff, in the organization of this, it takes so many people, so many behind the scenes doing their job. What can you say about Coach G and what he meant to this program, like over the years, all the different coaches he worked for and the different roles he filled?
Well, that's a great question. We definitely send our condolences to Coach Paul Gearing and his family. Coach Gearing was here a long time. He went to school with Coach Snellberger, Paul Horning, all those guys. He's been around the program forever, and really just played a selfless role. Just somebody that was here to help our players have success on and off the field. He did it with a great attitude. It was always helpful in a way that all players trusted him. All players, reached out for him to help them. He never denied any of that. He was always there for guys. He was the consummate pro at just being a great person, just somebody who always brought the best out of our guys, whether that was with what they were doing on the field or what they were doing in the real life. Just knew how to connect. And was always there for him. I think if you ask any of our former players that have played here that know Coach Gearing, they would all say the same thing. You couldn't be around a more selfless guy who brought out the best in everyone, and just a great person. And I just think he was raised the right way and went to great schooling, and he'd been through the process so much. He understood it. He loved what Louisville represented. He loved being the Louisville Cardinal. He loved being a part of the football program, and that started back in Coach Snellberger's days and continued even beyond then, and was just a great ambassador. So we definitely today is the funeral home arrangements, then tomorrow's the funeral. So we definitely wish him and his family the best.